Hello, everyone. I trust you can hear me. We'll be starting in approximately 4 minutes to allow others join this session. Please bear with us in the next 4 minutes. We should kick off. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Say, Father, to join. Father, to join. Spirit to spirit. Rising by your word. And it's open as a light. That's how I come alive. That's how I change my world. That's how I change my world. Say, Father, to join. Father, to join. Spirit to spirit. Rising by your word. We are alive. That's how I come alive. That's how I change my world. That's how I change my world. Just breathe your name upon me. Just breathe your name upon me. Your name will hail. Your name will hail. It's your name. Breathe, Lord. Just breathe your name. Just breathe your name upon me. Your hands and say, just breathe your name. Just breathe your name upon me. Just breathe your name upon me. Your name will hail. It's your name.
Hello, everyone. I trust we are there. Hope we are all together. Welcome, everyone, to this wonderful session, a lifestyle session. Quickly, before we start, I will do an introduction of our speaker for this evening. And I'd like us to stay tuned and follow carefully. Our speaker's name is Mrs. Edwards. She's a life skill facilitator and peer educator for her teen years. She's currently a PhD candidate in climate change research in the Netherlands. She has authored several books, Dive into Love, and In the Days of My Youth, with over 4,000 copies distributed across high schools in her home country. Also, she runs an online coaching program called Upshift. She's eager to see everyone, especially young people and women, build adaptive and positive behavior and also mindset to deal effectively with the demands and changes of everyday life so that they can continue to experience an upshift in their lives. From my experiences and truth from the Word of God, she can say that changing our inside will change our reality and the world around us, and win within before win on the outside. It's a privilege to have this seasoned speaker to launch into the teaching on handling peer pressure. This session will be for 1 hour. We'll be having the teaching for 30 minutes. Thereafter, a Q&A session for another 30 minutes. Please ask that we prepare our questions as the teaching goes on. Any question you have, be brief also. Share with us on the chat. After the teaching, we'll also read the question to our speaker or get our answers. Also, we have our various platforms we are streaming live, whether be it on Facebook or on YouTube. You can also drop your questions in the chat or direct it to our speaker immediately. Without any further ado, want to make welcome our wonderful speaker for today, Mrs. Glory Edwards. You're welcome, ma.
Can you hear me?
Clearly, ma, we can.
Okay. Thank you so much, Banji, for the introduction. Thanks, everyone, for joining this session. And we'll be talking on handling peer pressure. I'll go straight away with sharing my slides and give a short presentation. And after that, we can discuss in-depthly on the subject. Hope we are together.
Yes, we are.
All right. Okay. You can see my slides?
Yes, we can.
All right. I just need your affirmation to go ahead. So I'll be talking on handling peer pressure. And peer pressure can be positive and it can be negative. When we talk about peer pressure, it's not just only on tending towards negative behavior, but even towards positive behavior that might not be for you. So we are going to talk about how to handle peer pressure on both the negative and the positive aspects. So first of all, as I've highlighted in the introduction, I really believe that everything starts from within us. And to handle peer pressure and the demand society places on us, we have to, there are two aspects to it. It starts from within us and then what we portray on the outside as well. So I'll be looking at these two aspects from within. If there's anything you can take back from today, it's really that it starts from within us and then what we portray on the outside. So when it comes to our dealing and living our everyday life, we have to look at ourselves with systems thinking. We have to understand that nothing happens on the outside if it has not started on our inside. So every reality you see today was based on an action or inaction you took. You did something or did not do something. Every form of reality you see around you. And these actions or inactions started as feelings, how you felt about something. In the main session, I remember Pastor B talking about being able to say, don't just addressing an action, but how do you feel about it, which is a level that many times we overlook. We think this is, it's kind of underneath. So our feelings are very important, but our feelings also do not even start without our thoughts. So everything we have on the outside began as a thought. Think about anything. You want to be this, you want to be that. You have to take a certain action. But before you took that action, you felt a certain way. Before you even had that feeling, you were thinking in a certain way. So our thoughts are very important. We have to see our life in this form of a system that everything is working hand in hand. And our thoughts pattern, our thoughts are a foundation for everything we see on the outside. So in handling peer pressure, our thoughts and our feelings have to do with the inside. Then our actions and our reality are what we portray on the outside. So I'll be talking about values today because our thoughts and our feelings are based on another level that is even unseen, our values. Our values. You might wonder what is values, and we're going to talk about that. Meanwhile, what we portray on the outside is what people perceive as our identity. I'm laying a very good foundation because to handle peer pressure, it's not just what we do on the outside or even just giving you practical steps. It's understanding what is going on inside of you, what is going on underneath everything we see on the outside. So I'll go straight into values. What are values? There are so many definitions to a value, but a value is a principle, is a standard, what you perceive as important to you in your life, what is important to you. So I might want to ask you now, what is important to me? What do I stand for? What do I represent? What do I live by? What do I live for? Our values, what I hold as my standard, as my principle. And for each and every one of us, we have a value system, a set of values we hold important. So it's important to clarify our values. Why? Why do we have to define our values? It's very important to define our values because it gives us a blueprint for life. Any decision we want to take is based on our values. Our values go hand in hand with decision making. When we want to make any decision to go this way or that way, it's our values that will that will actually be the deciding factor in that decision making. Our values also give us a sort of direction, a sort of guide in life. So if you value education, you value education, for instance, it will guide what you are actually doing. When you are creating your goals, when you are setting priorities, when you are managing your time, every activity you carry out every day, it's actually your values that are at play. Even when it comes to time management, it's your values that determine what you put as top priority or not. So our values go hand in hand, and our values help us to have a greater awareness of ourselves. So it's important that you define your values. And I might want to ask you, do you have your set of values? Another reason why we have to define our values, I have an image here, and as you can see, perhaps you're at point A. You can take part 1, part 2, part 3. Even under part 2, we still have I. Under part 3, we still have 2 other parts. And under each of these parts, so there are so many routes in life that sometimes you wonder, what route do I take? What is right? What is wrong? Some things are not even wrong in themselves, but all ways are fine, all 5 ways. So what do I do? Perhaps you're done with education and you want to, should I become an entrepreneur? Should I start a business? Should I look for a job? There are so many things you want to do. We're talking about marriage in the last session. There are 5 people asking for your hand in marriage, or there are 5 people you want to approach for marriage. How do you now make these decisions? How do you now choose between one thing or the other? So an undefined value system will just open you up to wrong decision. It will open you up to risky situation, and you end up having regrets in life. You find out that you might feel a sort of unfulfillment, a sort of guilt, because you are giving into what your values do. You do not stand by what does not align with your values. When you give into something that does not align with your values, you feel bad about it. It makes you feel unfulfilled. It's like you are not in control, you are not in charge. So it's important for each and every one of us to define our values before we go out there to interact with the society. It's our values that will determine what we do on the outside, to determine what path we take, what decision we take, if we fall into peer pressure or not. Everything is about our values. So we have to actually write down our set of values. And we know that people have personal core values. We also have Christian values. We have values in all aspects of our lives. And when you might think that, oh, it's just, maybe I'll just put a list of values in this and that. But I journal a lot, and I have my journal. I always write down all these things. It's important that as a young person, at any stage you are in life, it's important that you actually write down these things. Have your defined value system. If possible, you can see it. You can see it when you wake up. It's a place that it's important to you. When you are even setting a goal and you want to achieve something, it's your value that makes you put that goal as priority in your life. And if you can print this and see it every day, it helps you. It keeps you in check. So when it comes to peer pressure, when it comes to life decision making, our values are very important. So some examples of our Christian values, if I want to mention them, there will be too many. We know we have lots of Christian values: godliness, contentment, diligence, purity, integrity, giving, peace, faith, love, hope. The Bible all over talks about what we should focus on, what we should use as the bedrock of our life. The Bible said wisdom is the principal thing. Said we should not be weary in well doing. I'm just mentioning a few. We should love the Lord with all our heart, with all our soul. He said there is faith, there is hope, there is love, but love is the greatest of them all. So this shows us what the Bible holds as important. He said we should follow peace with all men. So it shows us what we should hold as important in our life. The Bible promotes sexual purity, moral purity, integrity, loyalty, and all those values. But for each and every one of us, we should know what our own values are. Even our Christian values are so many. But for even in building a family, you have to know, what are my family values? In your life, what are my own life values? This will help you a lot in choosing what path you should take, in choosing what decision you should take, what way you should go, even when dealing with the society, with your friends and your peers. So I'll just give a little assignment for us all right now to identify your top values. Just write down 10 off your head. I'll wait for you to do that. So just off your head, identify your top values. Just don't think about it too much. What are my top values? I also have my pen here, and I'm going to write them. So I'll give you just a few seconds. Are we done now? Okay, I'll still give some time. I'm using Banji as my guide. He's still writing, so I'll give us like 2 more minutes to write down your top values. Write down your top values. So as you've written them down now, rank them in order of importance. I'll ask you, keep writing. Are these values time bound? Are they time bound? Are they values that are important to you now that maybe in the next 5 years they might not be important? Or are they values that were important to you 5 years ago, they are not important now? Maybe you're still in the university or in high school and learning is important to you. That is a certain value. Education is what you hold, and every other thing has to pause right now for that to, because it's time bound. So think about your values. Are they values that are important? Are they some that are really urgent to you? You are focusing on this now. Okay, so just keep your values in place. I'll go on. So I would like you to understand that you are entitled to your opinion. Your values and mine cannot be the same. If I want Banji to read out 1 or 2 of his values, let me see if it's on my list at all. Help us, Banji.
Do you want in priorities, in the order of priority, or just anyhow?
Yeah, you can just flow. You choose. Yeah.
Okay. Number 1 on my list is spiritual increase. That's with God. Mm-hmm. And what follows immediately is building strong relationship with my family, immediate family. Then the third is my extended family.
Okay.
Then my church. The list goes down.
Okay. So we can see Banji's focus, its value, spiritual increase, family, bonding with his family, and all of that. So one of my values here is learning, learning, because I'm on my PhD, and many times I can be distracted to do too many things. So I have to remind myself that this is time bound and I'm in a period of learning and research. So you see, while we have different values, I would like us to do this exercise next. We can see that we see things differently. So if you look from the top, from number 1 here, what do you see? I see the letter M. If you look from the left, from the top of number 2 here, what do you see? I see the number 3. If you look from the bottom, look at it from the top, I see W. If you look from the right, you see 4. You see E. You see? So the letter has remained the same. So what actually changed? The letter M did not move. What has been changing is our view, how we are seeing it. So we have to also be aware that, not that we should change our views for other people, but that we should be aware that people will see things differently from us, and that is fine. We should be comfortable with that difference. We should be comfortable with the fact that we have a different set of values, and we should uphold our value system. These are the things that are important to me. These are the things I hold on to. This is my lifestyle. This is what I do. This is my principle. This is my standard. And this might be different for you. And whether it's different for you or not, but I do have my value. You understand? So if you look at it, you can see that there is a difference based on view, and that view is what I call the value system. So we've talked about the values. I'm going to move into the next part, which is identity. Your identity, what you portray on the outside. You might have all these fabulous values that are helping you keep your thoughts and your feelings in check, but what you portray on the outside might be different. So we move over to our identity. So we have just two aspects I want to focus on in communicating our identity: a refusal skill, which is the ability to say no, and assertiveness, which is standing by your opinion, the ability to say, yes, this is my opinion, this is what I stand by, these are my values, this is my value system, this is what I want to do. I don't want to do what you are doing. You can't pressure me to do that because this is what I stand by. So those are the two skills we are going to look at. So if you look at refusal skills are really important in handling peer pressure, because most times people are under pressure from their peers and to engage in risky behavior, in actions that are likely to regret, and they don't really know how to say no to this. So there are certain situations that you can say no, and you can just say no and walk away, which is what the Bible really proposed to us, that we should flee. We should flee all appearance of evil. We should flee. Don't wait to analyze any situation. So if you're in a situation that is risky, a situation you're likely to regret, and you are being pressured, your thoughts and your feelings are already shaking. You've not maybe moved over to action or inaction, but your thoughts and your feelings, what do? You can just move away from the situation. But there are other situations that you have to actually give reasons, especially when your peers have been trying to pressure you into something for some time. I'll give an example. I discussed this with someone, and in his workplace, he says they always sometimes offer alcohol, and they'll ask, why don't you drink? So initially, he would not want to sound too churchy, too spiritual. You say, okay, I don't drink, it's just my personal discipline. Meanwhile, in his heart, he knows that he's doing this for religious reasons. So it started to give him some kind of guilt that, oh, I'm not standing by my values. And the other time he said, I don't drink because of health reasons. But some people say, but you can have a little, So, but being able to say, you see that when people are able to say, I don't drink because of my faith, and they're able to stand by it, there are people that respect them for that. We have certain religion where we know that they don't eat a certain kind of meat. Wherever we have events, you see everyone marks what they can eat. It's clear that these are their values. So many times why we see many things changing in the church is because our value system is not also clearly defined. We are having so many things no longer black and white, but things are moving into gray. And we are no longer saying, this is not for me as a Christian. This is not for me as a believer. These are my Christian values and I'll stick to them. We are beginning to have things where we are saying, okay, it might be this, it might be that. So if you really have your values, your top values as Christian purity, you have to have your reasons ahead of time. Because I tell you, opportunity will come, will present itself to test your value. Your opportunity will present itself to test your value. Maybe you're under examination condition and somebody wants you to cheat, take a bribe or something, or some kind of situation. Opportunity will always come, I tell you. So you must have your set of values written down, and you must be able to say, no, I don't do this because of this reason. And you can say no with reasons, but there are also situations that you have to say no and walk away. Don't just say no and remain there and be kind of playing with the situation, but say no and walk away, because temptation will always abound. So refusal actually needs a lot of self-governance. Understanding self-governance, it has to do with understanding yourself, what do I stand for, and all of that, and be able to coach yourself out of a risky situation, not waiting to be told, but knowing that this is what I can do and this is what I cannot do, and coach yourself out of governing yourself. Imagine yourself as a government and saying, okay, I want to run myself as a government and I want all aspects of my life to align. So assertiveness, I'll move quickly now. Assertiveness is the confidence in having and speaking your opinion. You note I'm saying having, because many times we don't even have opinions, which also is based on our value system. We don't even have an opinion. And nowadays, in this age of humanism, this age of secularism, where everything goes, we want everybody to be comfortable around every other person. We don't want people to have their own beliefs. Everybody should conform to the new normal, should follow a certain trend. We need to be assertive. Assertiveness is not aggressiveness. Assertiveness is not also being passive about it. I tell you, if there are certain things, certain of your values, that if you are not able to stand up for yourself and speak concerning your rights, you are as well being silence. Silence is almost equal to conformity. I don't know if you get that. So like we saw the recent happenings in the world, and everybody had to speak up, because if you don't speak up, it's like you're agreeing to the violence that was being portrayed. So you see, it also goes beyond vocal communication. When you are being assertive, it's not just to say, oh yeah, these are my values, and you're trying to like play around the situation. You have to speak, use your body language to communicate confidence, to communicate that this is what you stand by, and so that people know that you have your own rights, you have your opinion, you're entitled to your opinion, and if occasion presents itself, you will speak your opinion. So communicating all of this assertiveness will actually increase your self-worth. It may not just start overnight, say one day you just find yourself, you're able to speak up. You have to actually build this up. Anytime opportunity presents itself, you are able to speak up. So there are many situations that will present themselves to us where we need to compromise our faith, we need to compromise ourselves, we need to compromise the values we stand by. We have to, in these positions, be assertive, be willing to speak up, be willing to talk to our peers about this and say, no, I don't do this, or I do that, So another thing we have to really look at that is very important, it's our circle. The people in your direct sphere of influence will greatly influence your values. You cannot have certain values and you're hanging around the wrong crowd. You will only put yourself under undue pressure. So that's one of the things that really helped me when I was in the university, with my values for sexual purity, my values for spiritual increase, as Pastor Banji said. So that's one thing that really helped me. If you have people, you stay around people with similar values, it's easy for you. It's Bible said iron sharpened iron. It's easy for you to be warmed up. And one of the things I really like to stress is that when you are at the point of thoughts, I brought this chart again, when you are at the point of thoughts and you're having any thoughts that is deviating from your value, at that stage you should involve somebody else. Anything that is tending towards sin that you quickly uncover will lose its power over you. I tell you that most of the things young people struggle with, most of the things we struggle with, even adults struggle with, is secrecy. It grows in secrecy. So if you are having any thought that is not of God, any thought that does not align with your Christian values, very quickly find your parents to share with, a senior friend to share with, a peer to share with. Even as adults, many people living in Europe, living in abroad, and wherever you find yourself far from the watchful eyes of society, and you're tending towards those things that ordinarily you wouldn't be engaged with, find a friend to say, oh, this is what I'm struggling with. I've not studied my Bible in weeks. I've not prayed in weeks. I feel dry. Open up to someone. Once you open up to someone, that thought will lose its power over you. At whatever stage you are struggling with, is it just a thought? Is it just a feeling? Has it progressed to an action? Or have you already carried out the act you don't want to? Have you already done that? You should find someone to share with, which could be your parents, your pastor, a senior friend. It could be also a peer that has similar values with you. This is also very important. So I would like us to reflect on this. This is just to summarize it. You are the salt of the earth. If you, the salt, lose your saltiness, then how can it be made any salty? And it's no longer good for anything. That's what the Bible said. So we have to understand our place in the world, just as our senior pastor said in his introduction, that Christians, we need to come out to lead, not just to wait to be told what to do. We need to allow our light shine. So many times in Europe, especially in Europe, in America, in Canada, in UK, in the Western world, we find that Christians are kind of getting quieter and quieter on certain aspects of their values. And because of that, they easily fall under negative peer pressure, even under positive peer pressure, where you know that God has a calling upon your life and you're supposed to do this or that. But just because everybody is taking a certain path, you also want to take that path. You don't want to be identified as a Christian or as a pastor. Even your peers can do that on you as well, or make you choose something, a path that is not for you, a purpose that is not for you. So we should know that God has put a light in us, and the more we shine individually, our light shine in different corners, the more we light the world, and other people will see our good deeds and glorify our Father in heaven. So in handling peer pressure, we talk about values, we talk about your identity, and also practical steps of surrounding yourself with the right people. I'll end here so that we can have enough time to take our questions and to discuss. I'll stop the share as well.
Thank you so much, Mrs.
Thank you.
Edwards. We are blessed by this teaching. Now we are open to questions. I don't know if there are any questions in the house, but before the questions come in, I would like to begin with mine. Thank you, Ma, for this wonderful teaching on peer pressure. It's specific. You know, a lot of pressures out there, and this is specific for our peers. Peers pressure coming from peers. So I want to ask, what do you do in a scenario whereby you talk about your circle? Now, the circle of influence around you are doing absolute well, but in the many, you are the one who is the degree by which you're excelling is not compared to them. Talking about probably in academics, probably in career, and what do you do? Should you resist? Because you talk about refusal skills. Should you be challenged by it, or to decide to see, oh, I run my race on myself, or you should be pushed by their speed of excelling in their various career?
Okay, so we have to understand that our paths are really different and our stories are different. Even when, for instance, the Bible said contentment, godliness with contentment is great gain. That does not mean that God does not want us to have ambition. He also said he gives us power to make wealth, you know. So we can allow ourselves to be challenged by other people, but to the extent where we are developing ourselves and comparing ourselves with our own self, not with others. Many people make the mistake of saying, oh, this person is on this trajectory. That person is going faster than me. It's my age mate. Yes, he has arrived. But I found that many people will arrive early at a certain goal. Other people, God will take you through a kind of crooked path to get there. So we have to accept the fact that our journeys are very different. What you are saying is something I've actually also struggled with. That why does my own always have to look as if people are moving like on the fast lane of life? And when I inquired of God, he said everybody process is different. You can allow people challenge you. You understand? Allow people challenge you. That's healthy. Competition is healthy. If you look at children, it's good when they are competing amongst themselves. It stirs up more talent. More of them comes out. Yeah, but not that we compare one person to the other and say, oh, this person is doing this, but you are not doing that, because the story is different. The background for each and every one of us is different. So you have to own your journey, and you have to understand that you are on a process. And while you are stirred up by the successes and achievements of others, but you are taking it one step at a time. When you are in the will of God, you cannot go wrong. Some other people might arrive early. Some other people might pass through a road without hurdles, where some people might have to take roundabout, move 3 years before they even know what is going on. So we have to understand this and personalize our own work so that we don't fall under the pressure of, if you fall under any of such pressure, I tell you, in that state, you are likely to make wrong decisions because you are trying to catch up and run the race of another person. But every one of us is unique. And while we allow other people challenge us, we have to understand the position where we are. I hope I've answered that.
Amazing, Ma. Amazing, Ma. Another question I would like to ask. You know, you spoke during your teaching. You spoke of a scenario of someone who at work drinks, you know, and who at work was asked rather to drink, and in an attempt not to paint a picture of Jesus boy as the case where he did not drink, right? From your teaching, right?
No, he did not. But the reasons he's giving, he's not giving the right reason for his not drinking, and he comes out and feels bad about it. Yeah, so that's what I was saying.
So so at that point, so I want to understand now, because I want for you to expand better on the refusal. Let me get the point again. You talk about refusal skills. See, in an attempt, when you are being pressurized by people, by your peers, in an attempt not to feel bad like him and not to lose ourselves, our values, as the case is now. What advice do you have for many of us who we might not be in that kind of scenario, probably at work? It could be probably, let me give you another scenario, very easy. By grace of God, I'm married. And I usually speak to a friend of mine, saying to him, when will you marry now? When don't waste time. So he says to me, I want to make €1,000,000 first. After I'm done making my €1,000,000, I will get married. I don't know if I am pressurizing him because I see him as he's ready anyways. He's working, he's doing fine, but it seems not to get my points. Time is going. He's a guy, and so in an attempt, probably behind the scene, because anytime we have another conversation, I sense something in him saying, "I'm ready," but probably behind the scene is having another conversation with someone that I think I need. But with me, when I hit him with it, it seems to resist. So, what advice do you have for us? An attempt not to lose ourselves, not to feel bad in these kind of conversations. What way out do you have for us as youth?
Okay, so how to navigate situations like this? So, like in the example I gave of someone drinking, wisdom is really profitable to direct. We are not trying to, just as I put the letter M and we could see it from different views. We are not trying to impose your views on others. We have to be very careful that we don't impose our views on others, because many times as passionate Christians, yes, I had people like that, like I think when we're serving or so, that feel the Christian race has to be like this and like that. They don't deal with people with empathy. So because of that, they even repel people. Once they come around trying to even make a suggestion or even give their opinion, they repel people because of the attitude they put up. So whether you have a Christian value or the God said, Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. So just as you said, like the drinking thing, if they ask why don't you drink, it's not a bad thing to say, I'm a Christian, I don't drink, because of my faith. I'm not trying to say every other person should be like me. I'm not forcing my opinion on them. But you don't have to give other reasons that you feel are more acceptable to society, because that's what the person is trying to do. I don't drink because of health reasons. And you find out that when you start standing up for what you really are without thinking of what society is thinking or this or that, people will start gravitating more towards you because they see that you have an opinion and you are clear about that opinion. So the case of your friend that is wanting to marry, many people, like you, may be a go-getter. Many people are very logical and analytical. They want to be sure the money for everything, the marriage is ready. You understand? So you should use a different approach if you want to help him. You don't come to him saying, you should be married though. You are seeing it from your view where it seems so easy and direct. You understand? From your view, it looks so simple. Why must you wait if you are ready and all of that? Some people, after they've delayed so long, after they get married, they say, I wish I had even married 10 years ago. What was I waiting for? Eventually, when I saw that I decided to get married, I saw that it was not as difficult as I thought. So you have to use a different approach to him for him to be receptive to your message. You don't have to go directly. So you could discuss different things around marriage. You could even make your own marriage look very interesting to him. Let's go here. You can stir up that desire for him to take that bold step without actually saying it to him directly. So we can impart our values on others without actually being so forthright that, this is who I am. These people, that's why the Bible said, let your light so shine, they will see. So you could just have a happy home. He sees you praying together with your spouse. He sees everything. He sees that, you tell him that, my spouse helped me to do this today. If I was not married, I know then I struggled with this. We came together. You could just use different aspects without actually forcing it on him that, going directly. So we have to really apply wisdom when it comes to peer pressure, so that we ourselves are not the ones putting pressure on people to conform. if you make people actually make such changes, it does not last when a change does not come from them. So many times, even when we are teaching people or coaching people, you want people, you can teach them, you can show them something and let them learn the lesson themselves from the situation. That way, it does not look as if you are the one that imposed it on them. It feels as if it came from them. It increases their self-worth, So they learn how to handle many other situations just by having these principles that you've shown to them, so you could just do something else, but this guy goes back home and says, but why am I not getting married? Look at Pastor Banji is married, and this happened today. If it will come on him without you directly saying this or that. So it's the same way even with the drinking. I'm not saying that in every situation you have to stand up and say, oh, I don't drink, oh, this is, that's not what I'm trying to say. But first of all, if it's a risky situation, like you know that you don't have to be there, then avoid it altogether. But if you have to be there, and let's say you know that you don't have to be in a party, must you go? You understand? You don't have to go there, and then when you go there, you not say, I don't drink, or I don't do this, or I don't dance, or I don't dress this way. So from the actual stage of avoiding risky situation, it will help us to even avoid likely to regret actions that you would take, and when you get home, you are likely to regret it. So I think
Amazing. Thank you so much. I have another question before I take a question from the chat, the comment session. Now, many of us have seen, I don't know if you have, seen this movie, Aquila and the Spelling Bee. It's an old movie, and it got a time in this young lady's, in the film, the lady made a comment. She was under so much pressure from people around her, from the people in school. And she broke down, began weeping, and said, they expect me to win. They expect me to win. So my question is this. You as a young person, you are in the place of, you are in a leadership position, and a lot of people are expecting so much from you. So how do you navigate that kind of pressure as a peer? Because they look up to you and they really want you to deliver on some things. So that kind of pressure coming to you from them, how do you handle it?
Okay, while that is a positive, I talked about positive peer pressure. Yes, that is positive because it has good outcome. Just as sometimes our parents want us to take a certain course, do a certain thing, because they feel when you take this path, when you make this decision, it's good for your future. So society, yes, our peers put a lot of pressure on us. I was one of those kind of people. Like, not even I was, you see, sometimes you just want to be ordinary. Do you get my point?
Yes.
But you now just have friends all around you that maybe they didn't do too well in academics or so, and they are not willing to share their struggles with you because it seems you are not passing through similar struggles. So everybody is sort of hands off, it's as if you're in a different world. Meanwhile, you are not proud about anything. You want to interact more with people. You don't want to carry yourself. There's no chip on your shoulder and all of that, but people just feel you always win, you don't have issues. So that actually affected me. Because how did it affect me? It got to a point that I always hide anything good about me. I found myself only portraying negative things, not really negative, but only portraying what I'm not doing too well, because I want people to kind of accept me, to be comfortable around me. But when that happens, you should know that you are perhaps in the wrong circle, and not as if you should drive your circle away, because if you're in a certain circle and the people are, this is a different scenario from what you said, the people are constantly below you, you will have a cap over you. So you should find ways to expand your horizon, not by pushing away the people around you, not by saying, okay, this person is not my friend. Like some people used to say, the 5 people around you will show where you are going. I don't really believe in that, because if everybody follows that principle, then nobody will have friends. You understand? Everybody will always be looking for the 5 best people. The 5 best people themselves are looking for how they are going to be people that are better than them and all of that. So if you are in such a situation where either your friends are doing, there's a lot of demand on you, you have to do a self-evaluation, and you have to test your drive and see that you are not going on overdrive. We find sometimes, I also experience that sometimes I'm just overdriven. I have goals I want to meet, and I'm like, I can't fail at this because there's kind of a crowd cheering me on. I've not finished my PhD. Some people are already calling me doctor. Meanwhile, meanwhile, I know the struggles I'm having every day. You understand? Any little thing you put professor. Meanwhile, in my heart of hearts, I'm not feeling like the professor. You understand? Sometimes I'm like, me, I'm even tired. But I'm like, if you quit now, do you know how many people? So you put undue pressure on yourself, and it's not healthy at all. It's not healthy at all. So these exercises of, we have an exercise of self governance you can do. Really sit down and look at the things you want to be. You see, the things you want to be. Forget every other person. The things you want to be. I understand what you are saying. Sometimes parents are like, you must do a PhD, you must do a master's degree, and you're like, well, after BSc have I not finished? And there's kind of like pressure, or you must go to a certain kind of school, putting pressure, and those things affect people's mental health. If you're in this situation and it's people like your parents, have an honest discussion with them and say, I'm going to do this one, I don't want to do that one. I remember when I was getting to the university, my parents, everybody just wanted me to read medicine and surgery. I applied the first year, I was not given. The second year, I was offered fisheries in agriculture. Just imagine that. So I really, to be honest, I cried, because when I was even going to school, my father had already announced to the church, like, my daughter is on her way to study medicine and surgery in the University of Benin. You see, people had, in short, many years into my education, there were people that were still asking me, how is the medicine and surgery going? To show you the demands that were on me. So I really cried, because I thought I'd failed society, I'd failed people that expected this big thing from me. But when I prayed about it and I said, okay, remain in these fisheries, I just had peace of mind about it. I didn't write JAM again after them. Many of my friends tried and I just focused on the PhD, just put my all in. I forgot what other people are saying. It was shameful at the point, because I knew people that were looking down on the course, that this is like a, you know how some people behave, this is like a less superior course, a less superior program. But I decided to stick to that path. And many years down the line, I can tell you that I don't regret that action. I can tell you, I don't regret that action. Finished well, everything, life just went on. While people were busy doing jams, I focused on the fishery so that I could do it well. So what am I saying? Forget societal demands on you and actually sit down. When you want to make your decisions, I want to be this, I want to be that, or society wants this, everybody wants me to win. Define your own level of winning. Define your own level of winning. If you have a certain value that is time bound, you know that within this period of time, this is what I'm focusing on. Even when society wants me to multitask and put a million things together and be a superwoman, or be a super boy, a super girl, the one that gets it right all the time, I know that this is how much I want to do. So another thing is really self-worth. We have to work on our self-worth, our self-image. Most of the issue you raised is actually hinged on self-worth. People feeling that the affirmation comes from outside. It's not, I tell you that it's just maybe in the last, when I wrote Dive Into Love, it was one of the things I struggled with that made me write that book. I wrote it under 1 month. It was one of the things I struggled with, because I had all these things going for me, but I still felt an emptiness. I was always trying to catch something, you know. There's always a goal you're trying to reach to. So at a point in time, you have to define, feel good about yourself now. People want me to win, but this is my definition of winning. This is how far I want to go with this. I will not allow people put me under undue pressure. If there are people that matter in your life, like your parents, you have to talk to them and say, I've thought about this. This is what I want to do. There are many people that their parents forced them to read a certain course. After reading it, they took the certificate to the parents and decided to go back to what they really wanted. So I'm happy that now in the 21st century, many parents do not pressure their children, because people have seen that even football is sometimes it's more valuable. So parents are not, as it were before, that you must do this or do that. So, but now we also see young people putting undue pressure on themselves as well. Peer-to-peer pressure to be this, to show that, to post on social media and have 1,000 likes. It looks as if nobody is crying, nobody is sad, nobody has down moments. Every Sunday, people are coming out and showing nice videos, nice pictures, but it's not true. They all have their own lives going on. And so don't join the bandwagon, because you put pressure on yourself that you will not be able to meet up with. And I tell you, that is not a life to live. So just define your definition of winning in this point in time. So you cannot be everything, you cannot be everybody. This is what makes me satisfied. Success is not just, I have a 3 circles: success, significance, and satisfaction. If you really want a whole life, it's not just to be successful in this, but it has to make significant contribution, what you perceive as significant contribution, and it also has to bring you satisfaction. If it doesn't satisfy you, you are just aiming for the wind. You are just living your life, and this life is just one life. So success, significance, and satisfaction. When you have a goal, does this represent success to me? Will this be a significant, when something makes you feel like you're making a significant impact in the world, in people's life, it. Then does this bring me satisfaction? You can be a very big, I'm telling you, there are people that have it all, so in quotes, and yet they are not satisfied, they are not happy, they are struggling. We hear of suicide rates. It's all these things we are discussing that cause depression, suicide rates. If you want to, person has never passed through anything, is going to commit suicide. Why? Because they had a different metrics for what a successful life is. So you have to define your own. I journal a lot, and my journal is nearby. All these things I'm saying, I don't just, some mornings I sit down and write, what is success, what satisfaction, what is significance, what are my values. Don't just have the knowledge. It's actually putting it into practice by journaling, by discussing it. Sometimes you discuss with other people. Like somebody called me today. We were supposed to talk for 30 minutes. We talked almost 1 hour, 30 minutes. He was just asking me, how do you perceive me, this one and that one? And I told him, don't go about asking people how do they perceive you. You will get responses that will not even help you. You understand? Ask yourself, how do I perceive myself? How do I move ahead? We should not put metrics of people and ourselves, but your metric should be of yourself and yourself. You know where you want to go. I saw a picture on Facebook where a guy was celebrating his matriculation and people were laughing at him. Matriculation, what are you celebrating? Just asking. Yeah. But you know why I did not laugh at that picture and why I was really angry that people were seeing it that way? That guy could be the first in his generation. To some other person, that is nothing. Matriculation is nothing. But to him, he might have just leaped over walls. Yes. He might have just conquered mountains. Yes. You see? So our definition of what is winning, we should understand this, that everybody's level of winning is different. Our definition of what is winning will be different for each and every one of us. And we should identify that for ourselves and write it down and see it per month, per week, and all of that, so that you don't allow people put undue pressure on you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. We have 2 questions in the chat session. Where the first one says, Ma, you asked about being assertive and aggressive. Are there times when one needs to be aggressive, knowing that people sometimes do not think logically and want to see your level of seriousness before believing you? I don't know if you get a question.
Yeah. Okay, so I said about being assertive but not aggressive. I don't know if the person said it that way.
Yes, the person's asking, is it possible? Are there times when one can be aggressive, knowing that people sometimes do not think logically and want to see your level of seriousness before believing you?
Okay, yes. You should not be aggressive at any time. What matters is not people's action. What matters is your reaction. Is your people's values can move, but yours should not move. That is it. Like we are talking about having your value. So my own value should not now, because these people are this far gone, I should now adjust my value to be a little, so that I don't look too out of the box. You see? So what matters in assertiveness is that I can put up a positive attitude. I can boldly say my opinion. I'm courageous. It's not what you build in one day. You have to keep on pushing yourself to be courageous. People know that you are firm in your ways. As a young person, this is very important, because a time will come that just because people know your standpoints in certain things, they won't put pressure on you anymore. So the earlier you are able to settle these things assertively, not aggressively. As I said, you don't force your opinion on people. You don't have to, even if people do not take you serious because of this, that's their business. Yours is your reaction. If they act in a certain way, it's your reaction that is within your control. So if the person chooses not to believe you or not, never be aggressive. Never use violence or put up a violent attitude towards anything. Just say, this is my opinion and this is me. You will face so many situations like this when you are in a public place and you have to discuss certain things that is politically correct by the world. We have so many examples. In our aim for equality, we are welcoming all sorts, even into the church. So we have all these examples. And so at that point in time, as I said, there will be tests to really see if you are able to stand. If you write, just like Pastor Banji wrote spiritual increase, I tell you, as you have written that spiritual increase as your value, tomorrow something will happen to test if spiritual increase is really your value. I'm telling you, it's like you are now saying, world, come and test me, come and try me, and let's see if I'm up to the task.
Please don't come.
So when you have a certain values, it will pass a time of test. The Bible talked about Joseph and said the word of God tried him. He passed through a time of test. When he was in the prison, he was sold as a slave. His own consistency, his own person did not change. Nowhere did we see. They just said the Lord was with him. He still kept on seeing the same thing when they threw him into prison, which many of us, if we had gone through such adverse effects, will start bending our rules. I beg you, I'm not the only one to pass through such things, but we saw that consistency. And by the time he had become that consistent from his youth, it was quite easy for him when he was older, when he became prime minister. It was a preparation for him. So actually see your test of being assertive without aggressive as just putting yourself together. It's your own self-control that matters, not other people. If other people don't want to listen to you, they don't want to, I tell you, don't ignore those things. Many times I say that is what, when we perceive people in a certain way, is because of what we have put on ourselves. I tell you, if you go in a midst of people and decide that there are clear cuts of racism, for instance, but I don't know if you understand, like in Europe, sometimes people say these people are racist or that, and sometimes I don't see the racism. I just see that you are not able to stand and be confident about yourself. So you just go to a place thinking that these people, you have already come with your own pre-idea of how the situation should be. So I saw that if you remove those pre-thoughts of how the situation should be, you will carry a different aura around you. People know when you are confident. People know when you are bold. People know when you know your onions. People know when you are not, when you are being assertive. You don't have to be aggressive. So you just carry your own aura to them. So I will still stick to the fact that be assertive, never aggressive. No matter other people's they will keep quiet when they see that you don't move your stand. You don't have to push your opinion on them or say this must be the it or this must be that. Also, time will tell. If you stand, people will see that this one is not ready to move, and time will tell. So I hope I've been able to answer that.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Another question here, just for our participants, you can drop your questions in the comment section. Another question for you, ma, says, you talked about being yourself and not being influenced by people's achievements. Don't you think that competition is necessary for self-improvement? That's the question for you.
I think I talked about this when I was responding to Pastor Banji's question as well. There is healthy competition, but there is a time competition gets overhand. You have to know where to draw the line. There are people that also are not challenged by other people. It's a problem. It's a big problem when somebody is not challenged. Let's say you are married and it looks like the partner is not just ready to do anything. It's okay where you are. You understand there is no push for the next level. There are no plans to, get some sort of settlement. Do you understand my point? So people also complain about that. It's not even, if I said this is a problem, the partner is not ready to respond to it. When I say, the problem they make is by saying, but don't you see your mate? You have completely lost your partner if you start comparing person to person. You make them feel bad about themselves. So competition becomes unhealthy when you put undue pressure on yourself and say, oh, don't I see this person? Don't I see that person? I made a recent post and said everybody should own your story. Don't make people make you feel awkward about your story. I'm telling you, don't make people, what am I saying? Don't feel awkward about your story because of what is going on in other people's lives. So some people will tell you when you are in a certain situation, why now? Is it just you? They make you feel as if the world has come to an end. Many times, those people you are thinking you're in competition with, if you x-ray all the aspects of their lives, whether it's now or in the past, they have been in similar shoes. So while you are challenged by others, use yourself as a metric. It's very important. This thing is very important because this life, if you are doing competition being stirred up by other people, it's never ending. You always see people that are one step ahead, sometimes older than you. I was talking with someone and he said, you will soon turn 30. He's already getting this. He has not done this yet. And I asked him, how old are you? He said he's 27. And you're thinking of when you will turn 30. You're already putting yourself under that pressure. So I said, I understand your point. 30 is like the golden age. But don't worry, once you turn 30 and enter 31, you will see that 40 is upcoming and life is long. He was laughing. He said, I've never heard anybody say life is long. I said, yes, life is long. We put undue pressure on ourselves sometimes in a bid to meet up with people, catch up with. So if you ask the person that asked this question, if I ask you now, those things you are saying are material things. Most of those things are material things, material achievements. If you are challenged with somebody's spiritual growth, of course, go on, allow that challenge you, but understand that even God speaks to us in different ways. So you should seek to know yourself, seek to know your journey, ask God about your purpose, about your own journey. Don't go about comparing yourself with another person and saying, okay, this person has gone 2 miles, I'm just in 0.5 miles, how do I catch up? If you do that, it's a never-ending race. Yeah, they are just in what they call the rat race. There are many people that God will tell them, don't do this thing. I'm giving you 10 years waiting period for no reason. Then what do you want the person to do? So the other people that God will say, okay, within the next 1 year, 3 years, do this. Imagine Jesus, he lived on earth just for 33 years. If his other peers were looking at him and say, at age 33, he has blown all over the world, he's so famous. They did not know the death that was awaiting him. They did not know what was coming on him. So we don't know anybody's full story. All we know is our own. The more you look on the outside, the less you develop your own self. So put all the light, this energy you are using to look at what other people are doing and how to catch up with them and how to move on. Put all that light on yourself, on asking God, what is your will for my life? What is your purpose for my life? This month, what is my theme for the month? What should I do? What is the next step? How should I do this? When you do that, I tell you, you have less time to look at other people's competition, other people and all these things. Competition is healthy, I'm telling you, to an extent. But why I'm really saying this, because I've also been in that position where you feel as if you have not arrived. And happiness is something that you never achieve if you don't choose to achieve it now. You will still be looking, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to compete. And all those things. When you get that one, the next time you see another person that has gone a step higher, you continue. So how do you want to live your life that way? And if you continue that way, you miss out on God's own purpose, God's own design for you, the space God wants you to fit into, the tasks that God wants you to do. You understand? So there are many things that it looks as everybody is doing, but God does not want you to even put your hand in it. Many times you put your hand in it and see that you have just been wasting your time. So please, I beg you, focus on yourself. Forget people. Competition is healthy. You want to do this, you want to do that, which is great, but forget people and focus on yourself. So
Thank you so much, ma. Do you have a closing remark for us, for all our youth on this platform, ma, before we close?
Okay. Yeah, I would like to say that as I've stressed that we should be the best, remain in our circle, you be the best of yourself, challenge yourself, all the time, and peer pressure. Most of the questions even came from positive, in quotes, positive peer pressure, because really in the world of social media, it is so much. It is so much. There is a lot of pressure on young people to conform, to be happening. You understand? To be happening. Now, Sundays is like a day that everybody shows. This one, we've been in lockdown. Some people are saying, hey, they've not been able to show their church clothes and all of that. Meanwhile, it's a time that many people also, you'll be like, they are free from the pressure of society. So the earlier we can live our life and forget the society, it will be like a baggage has been taken off you, and you become lighter. And this your race that is personal to you, you will run it better and easier by God's grace. So I really want to encourage us to put all the lights on you. Before you do anything, ask God, what should I do? Sometimes our confusion is not even on right or wrong. Our confusion is on what to do, which way to go, what course to study. You understand? Who to marry. These decisions, and focus on yourself. Not that everybody's getting married, but that God, who do I marry? When are you bringing the person? God can even give you the year you are going to get married. The more we focus on ourselves and in the place of prayer and the word, you will be amazed how God can even unravel your life and put it before you like a book. And when other people are like, hey, other people are doing this, you just know that my life is like a script, and I'm running that script. I'm living that script one day at a time. And that even when other people are building mansions or digging valleys or whatever they are doing, God has a task for me, and I will stand by my task. Because if I neglect it, no other person will be there to man it. There's a certain thing for every one of us to do. So I really encourage us to search for that. Thank God tomorrow's breakout session, one of them is on unveiling purpose, which I'll be taking to. So it's like we're even already entering into that. So this is my admonishment for us, to put our eyes on ourselves, on our self-discovery, building your value system, understanding who you allow in your circle of influence, who do you listen to, and all of that. So let me stop here now.
Thank you so much, Ma. We are blessed by this wonderful exposure, and I know that many of us, our lives would never remain the same. In the name of Jesus. Ma, can you please say a word of prayer for us shortly as we close?
So, yeah. Just trying to respond to a chat. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Father, we thank you for this beautiful time of discussion, of discussing together and just looking at the plans you have for us and how we should focus on it. You have called us as the salt and the light of the earth. Lord, I pray for everyone that's joined this session that we will not lose our saltiness. Amen. We will not dim our lights.
Amen.
In trying to conform, in trying to be like other people, or in trying to enter the rat race of life that you've not called us to. I pray, Lord, that you enlighten our eyes, that each and every one of us will know the path we are to take, and we will focus on it. We will not allow the noise and the distractions of the world to take our eyes away from what you have called us to be.
Amen.
We ask for your strength on the inside. We ask for your strength on the inside. Amen. Anyone under pressure to conform, under pressure to engage in activities that are not of God, we ask for strength. Amen. Let that person have someone to talk to. Let it happen. Let the angel of the Lord stir their hearts to move away from that situation. Amen. Anybody in a relationship that has held them bound for so long, they don't know how to leave this relationship. Their emotions are all tangled in it. Lord, by your spirit, we break such bonds in the name of Jesus. Amen. We ask that your power will meet every one of us in our different homes. As people sit down to write down their value system, let it not just be a physical activity.
Yes.
Let it be a time when they start to discover how you have made them, how you've designed them. Let it be a time of eyes opening. Let it be a time of reawakening. Let it be truly the unveiling of the great design you have put in every one of us. And finally, Lord, I pray that we will not just be successful, we will have significant impact in this world. Amen. And we will also be satisfied and content in you. Amen. For in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Mrs. Edwards. We appreciate your time. God bless you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. See you tomorrow by 10 a.m. God bless you. Have